So you just got your real estate license as a brand new agent. You're motivated, ready to kick off your journey to crush it and become a top producer, but you just don't quite know where to start. That seems to be a situation for almost any new agent that gets their new license. But what I want to do is to give you the blueprint of 10 things you can do this month in order to build momentum as an agent without any budget, without any experience, to start to get on the right track without any experience and start to close your first $1 million deal within your first couple of months. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So the first thing I want to touch on might be a little bit obvious, but stay with me for a bit because the last few things are going to be incredibly important, and if you skip on these, you're going to run into trouble and it's going to take you longer to close deals than I guarantee you would hope so. So number one, you want to identify your method of client attraction. This is something that not many people put enough time into, which is how you're actually going to be attracting your first clients. Are going to be using a blend of traditional prospecting with new age modern strategies, for example. I recommend every single agent to attempt door knocking and cold calling on the traditional side. You don't have to do both long term, but at least give them a shot and choose one of them, which is going to be your proactive way of guaranteeing that you'll have a certain amount of conversations every single day with potential clients, but pairing that with modern strategies like running Facebook ads for $10 a day or $5 a day, putting out weekly YouTube videos, becoming hyperactive on community groups. What is going to be your modern strategy that you're going to pair with the traditional route in order to make sure that you're around the clock generating business? Because if you want to build a scalable real estate business and you've got into real estate to create a lifestyle, but you're only relying on door knocking and cold calling, it's never going to happen because you're only generating business 40 hours you're actively putting time into. Whereas the beauty of pairing it with modern strategies like social media marketing is that you have a Facebook ad running for $10 a day. You can be generating leads 24 hours even when you're asleep. So really you want to make sure that you dial in on your exact plan for client attraction to know exactly what you're going to be doing in order to start to get your first few deals. Now number two, this is incredibly important, is making an announcement and telling people why you got into this industry. I meet so many brand new agents that are saying, John, I'm scared of telling people that I got into real estate because they're going to judge me or they're going to say this and that. You need to make sure that you're announcing to the world that everybody knows that you're now in real estate, because that's going to be the quickest way to get your first few deals. You want to start with a warm market, friends, family connections, anybody that you've met before or follows you on social media. You want to make sure that they know you are now a licensed real estate agent, because you never know who might be looking or who might know somebody who might be looking to buy or sell this year. And if you're too afraid and you become a secret agent, meaning that nobody knows you're actually a licensed realtor, you will miss out on a ton of opportunities, which is something you just can't afford as a brand new agent. So make an announcement on every platform. Let people know how stoked you are to be in this industry and that you're there to serve them to the best capacity possible. Number three is identifying what your value proposition is. This is kind of paired with personal branding, but you really want to figure out what makes you unique, what is going to be your approach in this industry to differentiate yourself, because what you see is a lot of people simply just say, well, I'm getting into the industry simply because I love to help people and I like to work with people, and that's all great, but everybody says that. So you need to find your unique angle that's going to differentiate yourself from other agents, which would be leveraging modern strategies to get more exposure on properties to sell them for more money in less time. It could be leveraging video marketing. It could be a unique color like the color blue or purple that really separates agents from a marketing perspective from other agents in other cities, and then pairing that with unique marketing strategies. You are going to be able to leverage that value proposition to win listings over more experienced agents. So think about what is going to make you different and really lean into how you're going to leverage that and portray it when you're talking to prospective buyers and sellers. Now, number four, before we start getting into some of the interesting ones, is making sure you start to network and identify other strategic business partners. in different industries. This is something that really helped me out as a brand new agent because I went out and I started going to all these different real estate and small business, local entrepreneurial meetup groups, on things like meetup.com, Eventbrite, and all these other online meetup and event platforms online, because it really allowed me to start broadening my network. And as a brand new agent that just moved to a new city and I didn't really know anybody, I had no network, and I had these older agents saying, John, just leverage your sphere. Like, bruh, I got no freaking sphere. So you need to start to build that momentum and to get names into your database and other connections and collaborations, but also strategically leveraging other business owners because they are typically the most well-connected people in your market. So if you're starting to collaborate with people that are lawyers, insurance brokers, mortgage brokers, financial planners, or even car dealers, anyone that has a broad network of people that are constantly coming through the doors, it's really going to help make sure that if you're able to strike a powerful connection with them and build a solid foundation, if you can make sure they're going to keep you top of mind. And this is going to be a great way for you to start to build momentum by getting referrals from people that see your ambition and see your excitement about getting into this industry, so that you don't always have to just rely on your efforts to build your network. You're able to tap into other networks that others have built. And now, moving on to number 5, this is when things get really important, which is also creating a goal, but also reverse engineering it and setting aside KPIs or key performance indicators that are going to make sure that you actually have an opportunity to achieve your goals. Well, most agents set a goal of doing maybe 24 deals in their first year, but they don't have any metrics to work towards. So they're essentially working towards a goal that they can achieve. Whereas if you have certain KPIs or key performance indicators where you can say that if you need, in order to do 24 deals a year, you need to talk to X amount of people today, which is X amount of mini conversations, which leads to X amount of mini appointments, and so on and so forth. So if you're working towards a plan, you want to make sure that it's well thought out, because if you're working towards a plan that isn't well thought out, this is why most people don't achieve their goals. So you really want to make sure that, yes, having a goal is important, but you need to make sure that you reverse engineer it and break it down into bite-sized, manageable chunks that are actually going to allow you to achieve that goal by the end of the year, based on the efforts you're putting in on a daily basis. So the next thing you want to talk about after you have your goal and you have your KPIs is to create a schedule. And this is where most people fail, because they create this idealistic schedule that looks perfect on paper, but there's no room for any real world situations like client emails that come out of nowhere, showings that come out of nowhere, opportunities to meet with other people, or flexible time to create content. So you really want to make sure that you create a proper schedule. You want to make sure you're creating a schedule that you can actually hold yourself accountable, because of the fact that 87% of the agents fail in the first 3 years. And primarily, in my perspective, that's because they're not good at being self-accountable. So make sure that you've got a schedule where every single day you know you're working towards those KPIs. So the next thing we want to talk about is to set up your online presence. We all understand that in today's day and age, people could be and likely will be searching for you potentially anywhere, and you want to make sure you've got a high quality presence that emulates the high quality service you're going to provide your clients no matter where they're looking for you. So setting up things like your Facebook business page, switching your Instagram to a business profile, not a personal profile, setting up your LinkedIn profile, making sure that you update your experience, your skill endorsements, your headlines, as well as your About Me section, as well as your YouTube channel if you're leaning into video marketing, which you certainly should, because as a brand new agent with almost no budget, free YouTube videos have helped tons of agents go from not having any business to leveraging their phones to create videos, and now they're capping and becoming top producers in their first year. And the final thing is making sure that you also have a Google My Business page set up. So then when people are searching for you, just like if you were searching for a restaurant, they're going to be able to find you and some of the incredible things that people are eventually going to say about you in the form of testimonials. Now, the next thing is really important, one that is heavily overlooked, which is being a student of the industry. And what I mean by this is constantly setting aside time on a daily basis to study your market stats and community stats. One of the biggest struggles that a lot of new agents have, especially younger ones like myself when I first got into the industry, is that they fear that potential buyers and sellers are going to say, well, John, you're only 24 years old. Back when I got started in real estate, why should I work with you over somebody that's older and they use their age as their crutch to feel like I'm too young, and people are going to think I'm too young, and they're not going to want to work with me. But the thing is that if you have a very thorough understanding of your market stats, nobody is ever going to question your age. And I found out as a new agent where I continuously set aside 1 hour a day, just 1 hour, to study the market stats in the areas that I wanted to specialize in. So anytime somebody had a question for me, I was able to answer them like that. And because of the fact that I was so honored in terms of being able to answer their question very confidently with conviction, but also very detailed responses, nobody bothered to ask how old I was, and nobody even cared, because if you can give them the right answers and you sound like you've been doing this for years, why does it matter how old you are? So you want to make sure that you're constantly studying your market and even studying properties, new developments, understanding different features of properties. That's going to make sure that when you're able to point things out to buyers during showings, or you're able to point things on a pre-listing tour that others might not have picked up on, nobody's going to question how long you've been in this business, and it's really going to increase your credibility even as a brand new agent. Now that kind of rolls into the next thing, which we're going to talk about, is picking a niche. And this is picking both a farm area as well as a target demographic. This is not to say that you can't work with everybody and anybody in the beginning, because you should, of course, you want to work with anybody that comes your way as a new agent. But in doing so, it really helps to focus your attention in specific areas, maybe a couple of different communities, maybe your surrounding area, or an area that simply has a higher turnover rate, because that's going to allow you to channel your smaller budget and your limited focus on a specific area so that you can start to build momentum there. And then as it starts to grow, you can branch out to other areas. But it's really going to help you if you focus on specific communities and specific demographics, so that, again, as you channel your efforts into one linear focus and you don't try to cast this broad net, you're going to be able to build momentum that much quicker. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is actually having an accountability partner. What you're talking about, why most people fail is because they're not holding themselves accountable, because they're used to being an employee and they're just told what to do. But you need to have an accountability partner in order to make sure that you're actually doing the things you need to do. It is so easy when you say, okay, I'm going to start door knocking, or I'm going to start cold calling. But when the days get tough and they get long and you're stressed and you're overwhelmed, there's going to be many days where you just don't feel like putting in that effort and doing prospecting that you need to do in order to hit your KPIs. And if you don't do that, nobody says anything about it. And the problem is that habit starts to become the norm, and many agents will find themselves going weeks or months without doing the activities they need to do in order to build momentum. By having an accountability partner, you're going to find yourself enjoying the journey more, because you'll realize that you're not alone, but also they're going to be the ones that you can go to back and forth and be inspired and motivate each other on the days where one of you is not feeling like putting in the work. And so these are the 10 things that I advise every single new agent to do, and hope that this is going to give you a blueprint to get started on the right foot, to kick off your exciting journey to become a top producer. If you've got any questions about being a new agent and building momentum to get to that 6-figure level, drop a comment down below, because I do respond to every single person who comments on my videos. So thank you so much again for tuning in. And as always, get out there, take action, crush it. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell as I post content around real estate, investing, entrepreneurship, about my Tesla. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.
Even if the sky is falling down,